Hello and welcome to my presentation. Britain 1972 suggested that people understand and learn from events by giving them shape in language. This helped give me value to my journal entries as I could summarise my experiences during work placement and reflect on them later. I was aided in my journal entries by Dewey's 1991 theory that states that self-reflection is an active and intentional process that can begin with some discomfort, with an experience, and end with learning and deeper insights. This was especially true in journal entry 3, where I had to self-reflect on crucial mistakes I had made whilst filming a live interview. Another model I used was Gibbs' Reflective Cycle 1988, as it fit perfectly into my experiences in all the environments included in my journal entries, whether it be academic, personal, or in a workplace. It also offered me multiple steps in which other models didn't, allowing me to reflect effectively on my work, therefore aiding my future projects. Planning. Akpan, Uko, and OSIM 2020 define planning as setting up in a direction in terms of objectives and activities so as to achieve an end responsibility. My career work experience at Brighouse has gone excellently so far, aside from a few minor hiccups. An interview with a manager that lacked the final touches to make it professional. Here I can apply Morrison Ward's 2005 theory that states task preparation is a complex activity in which we can build a task representation from acquired skills, context, and facts to achieve a future task goal. This can be applied to my future productions. Journal example 1 directly links to Morrison Ward's theory, as it has used the skills and concepts I learnt during the sports journalism course. I could have prepared my interview better to avoid unnecessary background noise. I applied the aforementioned theories in journal entry 2 by learning player names and having the graphics I needed at hand when doing matchday social media content for Brighouse Town. Next was academic development, and my main focus in this was communication. Cushman and Kincaid, 1987, define communication as a process in which information is shared by two or more persons and which has consequences for one or the more persons involved. Throughout this assignment, I've identified my communication skills not as a weak point, but something as I would like to improve on as part journal entry 3. I feel the mistakes I made during my time at Books Nationals could have been minimised or eradicated entirely if I communicated better with the athletes, especially before and after the competition, as I could have learnt more about the sport and it would have given an insight into sports that I didn't really have that much knowledge about. Persuasion is trying to influence other people to our point of views or take some action, said Severin and Tankard, 1979. I feel I have learnt from this theory by communicating in a way that ensures I get what I need, but without creating or coming across as too forward. As I entered Books Nationals, I had two contacts that I wanted to speak to, and I know what I wanted to get out of it. I wanted an interview and some game footage, so I approached them directly and forwardly and laid out what I wanted, and luckily they responded in a nice manner and understood that I needed to get what I wanted to get, and I also offered something for them in return. I said that I would send them the highlights and they could use it for a future in their careers as well. So I offered a two-way system and they both agreed to it. Next up with my own personal development, and in this one I identified creativity as something that I wasn't lacking but I wanted to work on. And to be creative, Amabile 1988 states that two skills are needed, one of which is technical skills and the other is specific knowledge. Journal entry 4 gave me the ideal situation to use creativity with the story I obtained from such an interesting former footballer, as his life was so full of scenarios and highlights that multiple stories could be written about him and the people he has met. For example, Muhammad Ali and George Best. Creativity was something that I had previously highlighted as an area of improvement for myself, as I aim to produce stories with more interesting angles to them. Lifton 2011 labels creativity as a human need, and this is even more applicable in the line of work that I'm hoping to get into, where a certain angle on the story could be the difference between it being published or scrapped. I bear this in mind when doing my personal work experience and based my article on an ex-pro and his views on American ownership of his club, Birmingham City, and the recent takeover, and his perspective on it due to his time spent living and playing in the States. I feel this was me using creativity as I worded it into a current angle despite him not playing anymore. However, I also realised I could have, as highlighted by my feedback, that I could have included more stories, more anecdotes about his time before his career, how he got into football, his time playing in the States and for Birmingham, and also after he finished his career. Next up was my own personal development, and in this one I identified creativity as something that we first introduced the SMART action plans in the first year, and after reviewing the skills I needed to improve on in the previous slides, I've created a SMART goals action plan in order to achieve my short, medium and long-term goals. These goals will not just help me enhance the mentioned skills, but will also benefit my future as I can improve on these attributes and bring them into a future workplace. But SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time-bound. As you can see on screen, this is my SMART action plan for the short term. I wanted to finish this university with a high grade, which can be carried on into the third year grade and hopefully bolster up my third year grade. And the end date with that would be May 2024, as that's when I finish university. My areas of improvement would be to prioritise work over less important activities like gaming and socialising with friends. And I also want to know what to get out of each assignment for my own benefit and for the benefit of my own marks. And then finally is to check all work before submission. As I've been guilty of this in the past, I've just handed in work without checking spelling, grammatical errors, and sometimes just the layout of the assignment. I will achieve this by taking all feedback on board and giving myself time to review submitted work. This is either through getting a peer assessment review or from my lecturers. I will take on board what they say and try to alter my work to meet the needs of the assignment brief. I will also make sure that all work is completed to the best of my ability. I won't leave it to the last second and then rush. I need to think through it and then write down my thoughts with purpose, not just to fill blank spaces. And if I achieve these goals, hopefully a good grade will be achieved that will serve me as a foundation for next year's grade to build on, as I said before. And it will also serve as good quality work I can add to my portfolio once I finish university to apply for jobs and they can see the hard work that I've been putting in through university. As you can see, following on from that is my SMART action plan medium term. And my medium term goal is to actively continue to produce content surrounding my course and try to find work related to it. This will start once I finish university in May and then continue till September when I rejoin university for the third year. I will try to be more active when looking for placement and employment in my field, as I've never really did this last year. I searched for my placement, but I got those links given to me, but there's something I'm on my own to try and find out work placement or paid work if I can. My other goal will be to gain more experience in a journalism work environment. It's all good working in the university, but in the real world, I need to get that experience for my CV and to actually know if I enjoy doing this as a full-time profession. And then my final objective is to hone in on weak points and work on them. I will achieve this by contacting local papers, clubs and outlets to see if they need a temp over summer. This will also prove in good stead as once I finish university, I can ask them for references or if they need full-time employment, as they already know me and know if my work's good or not. I will also continue to produce my own content on my personal social media accounts like blogs, going to games, documenting that. And if I meet these goals, I will have experience in the work environment that I want to be employed in, which is crucial. I'll have proof of employment for my CV, and I will also have a wider skill set due to continuation of my own work, as well as working around professionals, which can only help improve areas of weakness that I struggle in. My final SMART action plan would be in regards to the long term. And my goal for that is to finish university with either a first or a 2-1 degree and find employment in my chosen field. I realise that getting a 2-1 or a first will massively benefit me, as well as knowing people in the industry, as that can also help if I get a poor grade. The start date to that will be May 2025 when I finish university. I will also start to think and make progress on assignments months before due date, as I have struggled with this before. I've kind of pushed it to the side and then picked it up with a couple of weeks until the assignment is due in, and that's, in my opinion, like negatively affecting my grade. I will ensure that I'm actively looking for employment towards the end of my third year, and as I realise that across the country people will be finishing uni, especially in my chosen field, and be looking for jobs. So if I can get in front of them, give my future employers a warning that I will be finishing, then I may be considered ahead of my competitors. I will also apply for jobs that will benefit me and that I'm suited for. I know my own strong points and I know my weak points, and despite I do like a challenge, I realise that I might not apply for, say, like a social media executive or a media manager when I've had no real experience in that field, managing or doing a higher role. I want to do this by applying for a broad range of jobs that my degree can help me access. So not just limited to journalism, working for brands, football clubs, so not just traditional forms of journalism. I would have taken all information presented to me at university, mentally and physically. I've always took it in mentally, but recently I've discovered that if by writing stuff down, taking pictures, it can help re-jog your memory more when it comes to looking back. There's not as many blank spaces. Oh, what does that mean? I will also use contacts that I've made throughout my 3 years to possibly find employment. I've done work experience at Brighouse, as I've mentioned. I've also worked with professionals like Bradford and a couple of other athletes, and that can massively help me in the future. If I've already got a good rapport with that club or person, they could maybe benefit me in the future. And if I meet these goals, a final grade from university that I'm happy with and will benefit me in the future. And finally, a host of employees that are impressed by my work and want to offer me employment. So if I keep the CV updated with the good quality work that I've been doing, and I put the effort into the third year, hopefully that will show to the employees and possibly future employment in their company. My last slide will show the documentation of me proving my work experience and the comments that Freddie from Brighouse has made about myself. He's given my ability to manage my own self and my personal career as described me as got a lot of potential. That I reached out to him first to organise my placement, and I've done very well on my placement. My ability to work effectively with other people. I joined Brighouse with Freddie himself and two other students, one from Leeds Beckett, one from Sheffield. He's put that I'm more than capable of working with others, worked as part of a team, and done so with ease and professionalism. I found this easy as the lads on the course were of similar age to myself. I knew one personally, and the other we got along well, so I think that created a good team bonding experience. And by the end of my placement, we all knew what roles we had to do. We had a laugh before when we got straight to it when the game kicked off. The next criteria is my ability to communicate effectively. I scored a 7 out of 10 for this, and that's on my own fault. I was sometimes slow or just didn't reply if I was available for a game. Either that was me driving back home, or I just completely forgot to communicate if I was available for that game, which is a fair enough score. Next up was my ability to use my own initiative. Freddie said that after the first few times, I became competent in completing the tasks required to full effect. Now, most of the time, everything is done without me having to ask or prompt to do so. At first, obviously, it's a new environment. I didn't know his way of doing things for Brighouse, but I quickly picked that up, and now it was like second nature. I had score sheets copied into my notes, so I could quickly paste them, how to lay out tweets in a format that his community on Brighouse's Twitter that we're used to, and it just come easier and easier the more I went to the games. Finally, the sustainability for this area of employment. I got a 9 out of 10 for that one again. Kill has excelled while working for us, and he has lots of potential to work in this industry. I really enjoyed my time at Brighouse, and that's great that he would consider me a good fit for that industry. I feel like the skills I've picked up at Brighouse have been crucial. How to lay out formats of tweets, how to reach a target audience, and actually interacting with the target audience at the games was great. I got some positive feedback from Freddie, a couple of members of the staff at the club, like the chief executive, said it was a pleasure to work with me, and the same goes to him. I also learnt that, of course, like Freddie said in the aforementioned tweet, that my timekeeping skills and communication skills did lack during my work experience, but that's on me, and that's something I can look forward to in the future to correcting, and this would just bolster my employability for the future.